Greetings, everybody. The title of this little talk is Symbiosis, YJACK Technology, and English. This is done in concurrence with the International Conference on English Language, ICEL 2021. And just a little bit about me. I am a sales engineer with YJACK Technology since 2019, and ever since then, my responsibilities have also grown to include business development, or a little bit of business development, a few facets of it. And I would describe my job as proposing and implementing strategies for international growth, global growth, and development of new solutions for pile testing. So I included the abstract to sort of provide an introduction to everybody listening what we'll be talking about today. So a lot of things that we do at YJACK need a pretty good foundation in English. You need to have a basic mastery of this stuff. And these things that we do are actually important to making sure that we can be effective and competitive in the world stage. So I'll use this presentation to roughly talk about what we do, how we look at things, and how we make sure that the things we do stay relevant further and further into the future. So just a little bit about YJACK as well. The company is a pile testing specialist, and we specialize in bi-directional pile load testing, and we offer all these other peripheral services as value-added services to our customers. So let me explain what we do a little bit more. A long time ago, this is how we used to make tall things. We just stack them, a brick on top of another brick, and so on. And the pyramids themselves don't actually have any foundations, so the entire structure sits on limestone, essentially. And we got much better at doing this stuff to a point where we can now engineer elevated structures like this bridge you can see. Not every part of the bridge is attached to the ground. So they use these foundation units, footings that are that suspend the bridge itself, and they're attached to the ground or bedrock underneath. They probably go a little bit into the ground. And we got so good at this that now we don't even see the foundation units anymore. In fact, over here, the foundation units are under the ground that are under the water. So they're not even under the water, they're under the ground, under the water. So because of the complexity of the things that we make these days, we need tests to make sure that the foundations that we construct are able to bear the load according to its design. So this is how we usually do it. We use a cartilage system, just one of these conventional methods. This is the normal method. And you stack all these blocks on top of the pile. It's somewhere in the middle here. You may not be able to see it. And this is how you sort of define, okay, it can take the load it's designed to bear, and so on. So what YJACK does is we compress everything into a series of hydraulic jacks that essentially go inside the foundation unit itself. And we compress all this work into this. Saves a lot of time and money. Which brings me into product development. So when you want to make a solution, or when you want to solve a problem, you need to do a lot of deep research. And sometimes this includes a lot of research into the market, a lot of scientific research, a lot of reading into past solutions that have been proposed, that have been used, as well as to make sure that what you're trying to solve is something that's relevant to the market. And then when you do have a solution, you need to use a lot of literary usage, you could say, for intellectual copyright. So when you do have the idea, and when you want to protect the idea with a patent, and you have to do this in a strategic way. So I'll explain more specifically with this type O example. So the type O is a bidirectional pile test, our specialization for steel pipe piles, which you usually use in marine environments like this. And doing it on land is very difficult when you do it this way, the conventional method. But when you do it on the water, it's incredibly difficult. So what we've actually done is really save them time and effort when you want to do a load test in a marine environment. So when you've invented a solution like this, the patent offices will require a lot of accurate and clear descriptions of everything that you have invented, every part that you've invented in the invention. And most of the time this has to be in English. You also want to do this in such a way that you save the patent offices the time to to make sure that there's as little overlap as possible between older inventions and yours, because if it has too much overlap, it's not valid. And at the same time, you want to know enough of these patents so that you can protect yourself against further developments into the future. So there's a little bit of an asymmetry over there. You want to reduce the overlap in the past, and you want to increase and have as much overlap as possible into the future moving forward. And to do that, every step of the way, from trying to find the problem to making the solution to patenting the solution, needs heavy use of English, research into patents and working with patent offices and so on. And then moving into international development, at least 60% of internet communication online, all the information is in English. So to be able to reach this very large audience, the majority of the audience, you're going to have to use the majority of the communication information, which is English. And at the same time, a little bit of food for thought. Social media applications optimize for search results in English, by the way. So this doesn't just work for social media, this works for search engines in general. So the algorithms for search engines work in such a way that the more people use the search engine, the better it gets. And you can sort of be a little bit more specific with this and say, the more people search with English, the better the English results get. So that's a little bit of food for thought regarding the quality of your search results in English. And then this essentially sort of leads it creates a pressure for lots of companies to make sure that the products they develop, the services they create are compatible somewhat with the English language. So you can see this very much with websites, for example. There is almost always an option to have the website in the English language, no matter where that website is from in the world. And it also allows for lots of agreements to sort of come through. I'll use Sarati Geotech as an example. This would not have been possible. They would not have been able to reach out to us if our media, if our social media articles, websites were not in English. So that's one thing. And what we did was we ended up making an agreement with them, and English had to be used to pen this agreement because both sides had English in common. We were not really able to pen the agreement in Tamil or Hindi or Malay or Mandarin because this is not the ones that we understand commonly among both parties. You want to use English to be able to clearly explain your responsibilities and their responsibilities, and you want to be able to do this clearly to each other. So English is the language of the agreement, and this is how critical it was. It would not have been possible if we didn't do this with the English language. So that's how important it is. So just to sort of summarize everything, English is incredibly critical to make sure that YJACK can succeed on the world stage as a pile test specialist. One, because it is the language of choice for international networking, for marketing, for agreements, partnerships. And then also, it is the main language of research and development. And you can sort of understand this when you look at how perhaps most software programming languages are based on English. It's very rare to find a programming language that's based on a different language other than English. So that will be all from me. So thank you very much, everybody. And I'll pass this back to the MC, I guess. Thank you again.